record to the cloud.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't get that. Okay.
All right, we restarted the recording because we're going to talk about team structure real quick. And this is just like kind of an overview of what's typical. Okay. Does anybody know who Tony Baroni is? No? Baroni. He's no phony. Allie, do you know Tony Baroni? No?
I've heard of the name actually, but can't put a finger on the
Sure.
where or why.
Tony, so Tony, other than Brenda Wade, he probably has one of the best businesses as far as volume goes in this area. So, you know, the Duncan duo is one of the absolutely biggest teams in Tampa Bay. Brenda Wade absolutely crushes it, runs her team and stuff like that. And Tony's at Keller Williams, and he happy to call him a friend. He's really a good dude. And so a typical team structure, the way that he built his team is that, like, and I'm just again going to talk generally. So Tony would work all the listings, okay? So he gets 100% of the listings, okay? Now, and then he also takes on a lot of expenses, right? Admin, advertising, transaction, contract to close stuff, all that stuff. And yeah, marketing, anyway. So all these things, right? And then from his listings and then also from his advertising, he gets a lot of buyer leads. And so the first thing that Tony's going to hand off as he grows from, let's say an agent by themselves, any agent can do, let's say 40 to 50 transactions per year. Okay. Now, I've heard of agents doing 100 transactions by themselves, meaning they usually have admin help and support help. But as far as commission splits go, it would be under one person. Okay. So the first thing Tony hands off as he grows, because of something we call leverage, right? Leverage is your ability to kind of use tools to help yourself grow. Okay, the first thing he hands off is buyers. Okay, now a typical split on Tony's team is 50-50. Okay, 50% goes to the agent and 50% goes to, I'm going to say Tony, but it goes into the team, goes into the business. Okay. Now, the agent's expenses are things like their gas, their MLS dues, trying to think of anything else. Maybe I'll think of more. Tony takes on all the marketing, all this stuff for his buyers as well. And depending on how the team's set up, like these agents, once they get a buyer under contract, outside of inspections, they really don't touch the transaction. And so Tony pays for that so that they can go work with more buyers and open more doors and get more buyers under contract. He doesn't want them in the office shuffling papers around. okay? And depending again on how the team's set up, maybe there's support in place to even write contracts and do all those things. It just depends. So the kicker here is if agent, outside of buying their own house, if their database starts giving them transactions, right? Their neighbor buys a house, their uncle buys a house, their best friend buys a house, they're sharing 50% back to Tony of the origination of which he had kind of nothing to do with other than they're in the business, right? So it works both ways, right? Tony feeds all of the listing leads for buyers to his agents, and there's different ways to do that. And then he spends money on advertising. He has a big Zillow account, realtor.com, whatever it is, Facebook leads, doesn't matter, right? He spends thousands of dollars a month just to make sure his agents are fed like they have enough leads to work so that they can make a living. And actually, Tony's top buyer's agent is a woman named Kate, and I don't know her exact number, but she closed 100 transactions last year by herself. So I think Tony did maybe 325 transactions last year. So Kate did 100. So she probably had a showing assistant just for her. So she's the lead buyer's agent. Okay. So so I mean, you could do the math if somebody wants to do the math. Do here's Kate's salary, right? Do 285 times 2.5% divided by 2. I'm sorry, times 100.
Okay.
85 times 100. Oh man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You have to start over.
Okay. Do 285 is the average. Let's just say that's on the low side, the average price point, 285 times 100 is $28.5 million, right? Times 0.025
Right.
equals divided by 2.
356, 250.
Oh my gosh. I didn't know it would be that high. So she could have made 300. That's divided by 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose it is. Okay. So she could have made $356,000, and then but they have to pay their cap, and they have to pay their taxes and all that stuff. Like that has nothing to do with Tony. Okay. So she's sitting pretty if she can do 100. Now she might not have made all this because if she had to pay a showing assistant and she might not be at 50-50. She might have to take part of her 50%, and in order to continue to sell 100 homes, she might have to give 5% to inbound sales agent. My brain is just not working. VSI or whatever, inbound, outbound calls. She might have to go up as much as 10% to these other support networks that get paid for setting appointments, for converting buyers for her, so that she's not really lead generating. She's just doing buyer consultations, taking people through homes and doors and things like that. So that would be typical. So, but again, Tony retains 100% of listing business. He doesn't show buyers. Oh, and also for Tony, say Tony's very, very, very best friend wants to buy a $2 million house. And they say, Tony, help me buy a $2 million house, a $5 million house, a $10 million house. It does not matter. I know this about him, and everybody can do their business differently. Guess who gets 50% of this transaction when it happens? Kate.
The lead.
the lead buyer's agent, or yes, it would probably be Kate, because he wants to keep her happy. He doesn't want to lose her. So Tony, he will not work with buyers. He's committed to not working with buyers at all. And so he can't, or not that he can't, I mean, he could, but that's called cherry picking. If Tony started cherry picking all the best buyers, he said, I'm going to work all the listings, but I'm probably going to close about 5 transactions a year, and I'm just going to do the million and up and all that stuff. Is that fair to Kate?
No.
Because she's given up half of her friends, family, uncles, all that stuff, right? So he has very simple rules and very defined things there. So he's not going to chase the additional $30,000 that comes off of this transaction in order, just for Kate or whatever. Okay. So anyway,
if Kate gets her own listing, she gives it to.
Right. So and that's okay. So that's a good point, right? So what if Kate's mom wants to list her house, or Kate's best friend, okay? And this is, I don't really know how Tony does it, but what I would say is, if Kate's best friend wants to list her house, my guess is that Tony does it 100% of the work, and then he gives Kate like something like 25% for bringing in a listing into the team. Okay. He gives her a referral. She doesn't have to spend her time. She doesn't go on the appointment. She's not really involved. It's Tony's marketing. It's Tony's everything. And she gets 25%. And then she'll get 100% of the leads that come off of that business as well. Now, other teams are not so defined. The negative to this structure is that, okay, so let's say it's not Kate's absolute best friend. Let's say it's Kate's neighbor, okay? And Kate's neighbor wants to list their house, and she's going to get a 25% referral fee, and she's not involved in the listing, okay? Now she's going to work with them as the buyer, and they're going to split that 50-50, okay? So her neighbor, and now she's at 50-50. So there becomes a disconnect. Some teams would prefer that Kate stays involved in the listing and in the buyer side, because it keeps the relationship more solidified. So some teams, Tony does not allow this from what I understand, but some teams might have a rainmaker and then agents down here, right? And they're not just buyer's agents. This is how Ray Chatterton, I don't know if anybody knows Ray Chatterton, but this is how his team operates. And any buyers, let's just say, for example, I don't know exactly, but let's just say any buyer leads, buyers and listings, okay? The agent, any buyer leads that come in, it's 50-50. Any listings that come in, it's 40% and 60%, because Ray is going to pay for the marketing, and his buyer's agent is going to work the entire thing with 0 expenses, and they'll pull all of the marketing off of it. They'll probably even have a rider that says, call, well, I know one of his buyer's agents is Ronnie. So call Ronnie if you want to see this house. Ray doesn't take phone calls. I don't know. Maybe that's wrong, but anyway. But there's different team structures, and that's kind of what you can expect. And I'll tell you, it's hard to get on Tony's team. I'll tell you that much. He has a pretty strict interview process and things like that, but insert agent, and then it's really, really typical that those lead agents, as they as they get experience and they start growing their own database and they're really like a realtor and they have this legitimacy, is that they split off and they either form their own team or they're just tired of splitting everything 50-50 and they just want to do it themselves. Now, Kate's been with Tony for a long, long time. But anyway, it's, I forget what the whole point was, but we were talking about team structures and all that stuff. So I would say, yeah, anybody that's doing more than 40 to 50 transactions, like, and the argument here, let's do this one. Okay.
Is it
Let's
common
just
to
say-
sign like a year contract with them?
I'm sorry.
Is it common to have like the team leader have you sign like a year contract at a minimum?
Well, a contract maybe, whether that'll hold up or not is a non-compete clause is more traditional. So that means if I end up leaving your team, in order to join my team, if I end up leaving your team, first of all, I'm going to have some kind of verbiage that protects my database, because that's where all my business is coming from, right? And if I can prove that you stole out of my database and that you're trying to convert my leads to launch your own business, then I'm going to come after you legally. And the other thing is could you get a non-compete in a certain area, in a certain market, in a certain radius that says you can't, within 60 miles of Tampa, you're not allowed to sell real estate 12 months after after you and I split. So could you get that through if you were a buyer's agent, right? So now I'm going to show you why it makes more sense to hire admin before you hire buyer's agents. Now it's okay. So let's say you're going to do about $10 million in business, and you just know it, okay? So you're going to do, about 40 transactions on each side, 40 and 40. Okay. Now one of the easiest things that you could do is you could bring in a buyer's agent. And this is the mistake I made in 2016. You could bring in a buyer's agent. And you could say, okay, I'm going to hand off 50% of my business to the buyer's agent. Okay. And so this buyer's agent will do about 20 transactions for me. I'm going to retain the listings. So I'll retain the listings. I'll do 20 listings. My buyer's agent will do about 20 buyers. And this will be split with me 50-50. I don't need the percent, right? 50-50, okay? So I'm going to do 20 and then 20, and then I can work on something else. I can work on agent attraction, or I can try to make 20 listings into 30 listings, or I can go do something else, right? And so I've leveraged myself. All right, let's see how expensive it is to hire a buyer's agent. So let's do, who's got the calculator?
I'll do it again.
Thank you. So this buyer's agent, you're going to bring on your team. Wait, first, let's talk about the advantages. So if I hire a buyer's agent, they're 100% commission. They're licensed. I don't have to pay them monthly. They only get paid if they sell, right? They only get paid if they sell. They work just like me, only they're kind of like working my leads, right? And so if we have a 0 month and our team doesn't sell anything, I don't have to come out of pocket to pay them. Sounds pretty cool, right? Awesome. All right. So now they're going to do 20 transactions, $285,000 times 20 times 2.5% divided by 2.
71,000.
Okay. $71,000. Okay. Now, buyer's agents in official capacity, they're usually on a half cap. So I didn't want to jump into this too much, but that $71,000, you still have to pay. Your cap at EXP would not be $16,000. It would be $8,000. Okay. And then you've got taxes and gas and licenses and all that stuff, okay? And then you make X amount of dollars, okay? So the way I see this is I just cost myself $71,000. That's what a buyer's agent costs me, okay? Buyer's agent, okay? So, so that's what that cost me, okay? Now, let's say I did 40 transactions, but I'm gonna hire an admin. How much should an admin make for me?
What's the admin doing? Just like,
They're working 40 hours a week. They're working 40 hours a week. They may or may not be licensed, and they're doing everything from transaction management to marketing to whatever. They're just, they may even be running some signs around, lock boxes, whatever, kind of whatever you want. They could be writing contracts. They're not negotiating. They're not negotiating inspections. They're not going on listing appointments or buying appointments. They're truly an admin, and they keep you sane while you do 40 transactions. Okay. So my admin makes my life easier. I have to pay them 12 months, even if I sell zero houses. But they cost about half as much as a buyer's agent under the same scenario. And I'm retaining 100% of the commission. And so this is why, you know, Keller Williams is a great training company. They'll always tell you, you should hire your admin first. Your growth is not to bring in somebody that's super expensive that can do exactly the same things that you can do. Your growth happens when you bring in somebody that complements your weaknesses, costs a little bit less, costs less or half as much, and supports you so that you can, maybe you grow from 40 to 60. You know, and so an admin and then a transaction coordinator would be the growth pieces. And once you've taken this from 60 to 75 transactions, now maybe you're ready for a buyer's agent in an official capacity and all the other stuff. So anyway, so that's what. Why do I like EXP so much? Well, because we kind of get the best of both worlds, right? So Tony, the way I see it, Tony has to feed his family, and now he's got to feed Kate's family, and he's got admin, and he's got all these things, right? And if the leads stop coming in for Kate, or now it's a buyer's market, maybe she won't sell 100 homes this year. He's responsible for making sure that she has enough leads.
Right.
And I don't think it's a problem for him, but just imagine another scenario where not as much business is coming in. So he's responsible for all these people and all their production, and it's all on him. And these admin salaries are guaranteed even on his down months. Even if the market shifts, of course, he could reduce his staff and things like that. I kind of like the way EXP works, where you can keep your cap at 16,000, and we call this a modern team. Now, I'm not really responsible for your family, Kate or Nick. I'm not responsible. You can grow your own business. Kate's not growing her own business. She's not growing her own brand. Everything, all the expenses are going through Tony. Where I would say at a modern team, Nick is going to grow his own brand. Nick is going to learn along the way. We'll go transaction by transaction. And if at some point Nick comes to me and says, Doug, I'm done working your leads. I can't work your business. I'm not making enough money. I'm trading 100% commission for your 50% commission. and after this one, I'm done. Let's stay friends. I say, no hard feelings. You don't owe me anything and blah, blah, blah. And the same way, I could say, Nick, my business is really tanked. I thought we were going to do X this year. We're not going to do X. This is what's going on. And I'm sorry, but every single piece of business I get from now on out, it's just not going to come to you for whatever reason, whether it's performance or my circumstances has changed. So we don't owe each other anything.
Right.
Okay. But the way attraction in the downline works, I have a really strong reason to get Nick into production and get him launched and all that stuff. So anyway.
Does EXP offer the ability to do like a regular team though, like we were talking about before, like Keller Williams?
Mm-hmm.
Like if
Yeah, absolutely.
they do that?
So you have to qualify, and I forget what their number is. Maybe I think it's somewhere around $6 million. So this is kind of a cool thing with EXP, right? So if you do at least $6 million, you can qualify to run a team. Okay. Now, I told you what was typical. What's typical is 50-50. Okay. But let's just say, and Nick, I'm just using you as an example. Let's just say Nick, so I qualify for this, whatever. We do more than that. But let's just say Nick came to me and he said, well, it seems like most of my business is coming from you anyway. I'd like, why don't I join your team officially as a buyer's agent? My cap goes from $16,000 down to $8,000. Okay. Now there's some rules. If Nick does this, okay, there's some rules. So we can have our splits. We can stay at 50-50, etc. But the minimum Nick must pay me, even if his mom buys a house or his best friend buys a house or it's his lead from his source, he has to pay the team 25%. Okay, into the team. He has to. I can't take 0%. That's one of their rules. I can't have my cake, $8,000 cap, and eat it to 0% to my team lead. I can't do that. It's not allowed. Now, you can be anywhere you want with negotiating your splits with your team lead, 25%, 50%, whatever. We could put a team member at 25%, and I could just say, hey, you're just at 25%. I might kick you some leads. I'm going to work buyers myself. I'll try to kick you things, but I'm definitely getting 25% of everything that you do. So I don't know. So the EXP is a little bit different. And then what is it? If you have 10 licensed agents under you at EXP, I think their cap goes to $4,000. If you get to 10, which that's a mega team, and I don't know. You probably got to do more than 25 million or something a year in volume. So I don't know.
So when it comes to the icon part, is the icon agent fall under the team or individual?
Oh yeah, that's a good question.
Okay, so let's talk about icon. It's kind of cool.
I want one of those stupid little trophies.
Give trophies. I didn't know that.
The nice glass cut ones. Doug has one.
What trophies?
Hey, I thought everybody has to get a trophy now. I want one.
What trophies? Okay. Okay, icon's super cool, right? So icon, so first you have to cap. So you have to pay EXP $16,000, right? That's now you're capped. Now you go to 100% commission. Okay, so and this equals about $2.8 million in closed volume to cap. Okay, at the 80-20, $2.8 million. Okay. After you cap, this is within 12 months. You basically have to do 20 transactions at a capped transaction rate of $250. Okay. Carry that down, add it all up. You've paid another $5,000 into EXP. Okay. So the total that you paid now between cap transaction fees and your cap is $21,000. And EXP doesn't really care about this number. It's about 20 if you do. What they care more about is this, $5,000. Because like say Nick and I do a 50-50 transaction. Well, EXP is only going to charge me $125 because they're charging him his cap fee and I'm 50%. So they're only going to do that. Okay. So now I need more transactions to get the 5,000. So anyway, so then once I do this, 20 more transactions after my cap, then I get the stock, the $16,000 in stock. So. Buyer's agents are not eligible for this program.
Oh, so if you're on a team, then that goes away?
Yep. Buyer's agents are not eligible for the icon. Yep. So
and it's like a yearly thing. So you could be an icon agent. You can make it every year and get new $16,000 stocks.
You could. Yep. So we iconed our first year, 2019. We iconed. In 2020, we totally missed it. It was not a great year for us. It was like basically last year. And then I'm almost positive. I think we have however many. I don't know. I'd have to look at it. We've got 10 or 11 to go before the end of July. The icon. So
10 or 11 transactions to go?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. I'd have to look at it, but
like you said, they don't care about the number, so.
No, but it's going to be more than 20 for me because I'm splitting. If I referred, this isn't even worth getting into, but yeah, let me see.
So for you then, if I accept a referral.
Six.
So
sorry.
Hypothetically, after we cap, and then say I get a referral from somebody and we finish the transaction, do I pay part of that transaction fee? Does that get split? Or does the person giving the referral pay the full $250 and then that goes towards that $5,000? That make sense?
No. Say it one more time.
All right. So I'm capped. Okay. Then you give me a referral like Aaron and
right.
I close out that deal. Since I'm only getting 25% of that, do I get to pay into that 5,000 to go towards the?
This is what I wasn't going to get into, but since you asked, okay, stay with me. There's an incentive. I think this is flawed, and I've asked about this. There's an incentive to not refer within EXP because what Nick's saying is, say he has a referral and he's going to get 25% and he's capped. So 250, he's only going to pay, if it's an EXP agent, if he refers it to another EXP agent and he's going to receive 25%, he's only going to pay 25% of the 250. Okay. So that's why I'm saying it's going to take more transactions. If he refers it outside of EXP,
you pay the full.
You pay the full 250 on the 25% referral.
Oh.
So it's kind of silly, and I've asked them about this. I'm like, we're incentivized because
You think
for us, for us, iconing is a good year. It's a good year, right? We did it one year, we didn't do it another year. We should do it again this year. We will. So I want to get those transactions done as quickly as possible. And if it were to come down to it, and I needed one more transaction by the end of July, I would be going to every single one of you and everybody else I know in EXP and saying, let me go on the contract and let me close this out, and I'll pay you whatever you need over here. You know, it's complicated, but whatever. So anyway, I think it's silly that they almost incentivize you when you're going for icon to not work with EXP agents, but that's just how they do it. So
do you think a lot of people realize that?
Yeah, they do, because there's discussion about it.
There's discussion about it.
The corporate realizes it. Everybody realizes it. And also, if you double side a transaction, because I've done this twice this year under this cap, they don't count it as two transactions.
That's bullshit.
It is bullshit, Nick.
Well, they're trying to protect that 16,000 in stock.
I guess so. I don't know. Yeah.
Why else would they do it?
They can let the agent choose whether or not they want to pay the full transaction fee or not.
I know. And then they do have a stipulation where, like, if you sell in San Francisco, like, you're not gonna cap and then do 20 transactions at $250 because the price points are so high. And so they have a thing where you could pay like $1,000 and do 5 more transactions, but you have to be in one of those crazy markets where they don't, because the number of transactions doesn't make any sense. You could run a friggin' great business and sell 10 homes a year and just be good with that. And you should be iconing because you're going to sell $15 million worth of real estate. So they've made some of those stipulations, but anyway. Allie, what's going on?
Kids are on spring break, so.
Oh.
Sorry, I had to leave. I missed the last like 10 minutes or so.
That's all right. We were going to do this super invigorating FAR bar contract, residential real estate contract, and we didn't do it. So and we really only put it out there yesterday. So whatever, we didn't do it.
I did want to ask if, do you have like a list or something of who's on our team, like agents that?
Sure. There's 2 different ways to think about it. So do you want to know who's in the mentorship program, or do you want to know who's in our EXP group with your sponsor, Sarah?
I guess, because I'm just thinking like as far as like social media and stuff, until like I get listings or buyers, which I'm working on, you're supposed to ask permission if you can share people's listings, but I would want to work with people on our own team, not, seeing if I could share their listings or, just advertising to bring in buyers type thing.
Are you in the EXP Tampa Bay Facebook page, or did we not add you to that? No? That's what I need to do. I need to add you.
Or maybe I am. I'll check. Oh.
Nope, you're not. No, you just got invited. So this is our internal it's a Facebook page. So everybody in there is in EXP. So now Alicia's not in there because Alisha didn't allow me to sponsor her.
I didn't know you existed, though.
I know, I'm kidding. Most of our mentorship group is this group. So there's a few exceptions, but yeah. So yeah, but that's a good place to start. I'd look up people's names. I have listings coming up. So, and here's the rule, right? This is my rule. I think this is pretty fair. If you can advertise my listings, that's fine. Make sure you advertise it through your own KV Core and all that stuff, so it links back to you and you get leads off of it and all that stuff. Okay. If it's my listing, the way I'd like you to treat it is, you can say, here's a new listing by eXp Realty, and you don't even have to tag me. Congratulations to eXp Realty. But the only thing I don't want, and what I've seen other agents do this without permission, is, hey, look at my new listing in Twin Lakes. Here's my new listing. No, it's not your new listing. Here's a great house. It links back to my website. Brought to you by eXp Realty. Great, awesome. I don't care about that. Do that all day long. Just don't misrepresent whose business it is.
Yeah, for sure.
You could do the same thing.
I would even tag the person, or if they want that. I just feel like, as far as getting a presence I love Instagram. You have to share pretty pictures. So, but you give recognition where it's due and you ask permission first.
Sure.
So.
Absolutely.
Alex, what's your Instagram so I can follow?
The one I have for real estate is the Bell Home, the.bell.home. Thinking about changing the name, but I got it all approved with marketing. Bell Fakir is my last name. I just shortened Bell. Everything is Bell with my family, so I just kept that. But I just started it, so trying to figure out where I have some ideas.
You guys should talk Instagram.
I just love Instagram. I just love Instagram.
All right, Alisha and Allie, could you do a class on Instagram?
I feel like I'm not that good at it, but
I know some tips. Like, me personally haven't had the success with it yet. I mean, I'm starting, but I have seen others who have done it. My sister's done it.
You don't have to be an expert. You're better than Nick and I'll tell you that.
I have seen a lot of, even studying agents that have had a lot of success from it, a ton of leads. All their leads are from social media.
I don't know how they do that.
What's that, Nick?
I don't know how they do that. I have a friend up in Homosassa, and she gets everything off of Instagram.
I mean, it has a lot to do with already your fault. I think people who say oh, you could get it off of social media, they're undermining how difficult it is, because you have to have already a good following before you start. You know what I mean? You can't just start.
Area too, so I'm sure that helps a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I come to it with this preconceived idea that every new agent just wants to use social media to go sell 10 or 20 homes a year. And those are the agents that first they come to eXp and then they go away from eXp, they blame their broker, and then they move themselves right out of the business. And I'm not saying that there's not a way to do it. It's not how I built my business. It's not anything that, I mean, please, Katie Lance, I don't know, Gary V is not a real estate guy, but I know he crushes it on social media. So go find those influencers, learn from them. Please bring it back to real estate. Follow people. I know Jenna's done some of this, and again, I hire Alisha because I don't do it. So
you need to send me more content, Doug.
Yeah, I know, that's it, right?
That's the hard part, is you have to have good content creation, and you have to be consistent, and
Well, Allie, Doug has 2 listings coming up tomorrow, right?
Yeah, one of them's gonna go on Thursday because the photos aren't until tomorrow. But
yeah, so I was interested in you just share, one photo from it. Like Alisha said, you have to have a following before. I mean, hashtags can bring you the following. But it does take a little bit, but it's better to have content than no content.
That's right. That's right. And then you could do something viral.
Yeah, like you have to create some funny, impressive reels. I actually put up my first post on my Instagram was a reel of my kitchen getting a backsplash. And it shows me the views. I have 1,100 views. I didn't do anything.
Wow.
It's just
Nice.
like people like looking at reels. So just playing with it a little bit. You know, if you're funny, you can go viral creating funny real estate reels.
Right. Did you there's a woman named Philippina Main, and there was this listing that got this national attention, and it was this little crappy house in Zephyr Hills. Did anybody see that?
I
So
saw that.
The mannequin,
yeah, huh?
the mannequin one?
No, it
No,
was
it
like
was-
yeah,
it was like a rinky dinky house that
yeah,
couldn't be lived in.
it was like $85,000 in Zephyr Hills, and she was like, "Don't worry, the seller has done all the hard-earned work of clearing, 20 huge trash bins of trash off their property prior to listing this home for sale." And like I can't even, I read it once and I can't remember, but I just remember like it got shared from my friends in Wisconsin and everywhere and all that stuff.
Yeah, I remember one part. She was like, "The property is amazing, and all the neighbors would love you if you did them a favor and actually just demolish this and put up
Yeah.
something else."
So it got picked up by like news organizations and stuff like that. So yeah, if you could do something like that, I'm sure it helped her and stuff like that. So, did a transaction with her years ago.
Wow.
But yeah, and then people do like the T-Rex and listing photos or doing that.
There's
Stuff
a
like
new one. There's a new one that just went viral with like mannequins. They put mannequins all in the home list. It's really creepy.
Mhm.
Like living life, like a mannequin cooking and like a mannequin watching.
Oh, really? Yeah. And there's certain things you can do on MLS, and then there's certain things you can't do on MLS, and so.
Yeah, that's true.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna keep this to right about an hour. Hope you guys learned something, and maybe if we want to just update our post, Alisha, let's do the contract next week, and I'm sure everybody's gonna be flocking into class to learn about contracts.
Right.
Cool.
All right. See y'all. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it.
Bye.